What's up, family? Man. It's your favorite podcast coming out of Washtenaw County, Michigan. Shout out Ypsilanti. This is Stay in Power. I am one of your hosts, Shane Collins, he, him, his pronouns. My co-host is off with some other business, but they will be back at another point. Man, I want to introduce to y'all some of my favorite people in the whole wide world. Been knowing these people, some of them for, you know, going on 5 years, some of them just a couple years now, but I feel like they all been part of the crew. They all been part of the crew for a minute. So love to see you all here. Excited to get this started. Would anybody like to start off with some intros? We got, Ashanti. We got we got Malik, we got Ciara. So we got Naima. Naima made it back in the building. Naima, I didn't know if they was gonna make it back in here. So does anybody want to start off with some intros? If not, I got it started. I'm gonna take that silence as a go ahead to get myself go. Okay, for sure. So like I said, Shane Collins, see him, his pronouns. I'm 19. I'm a college student. Um, I am a performer. I'm a performer first and foremost by title. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a singer sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm a rapper. I am. I'm a spoken word poet. I do a little bit of everything. Trying to be good in all them facets. So just trying to impact the world with what I love, and then hopefully make somebody smile. That's all I'm really trying to do. I'm a popcorn it too, Malik.
Cool. My name's Malik. I'm an artist, I think, in like almost every shape possible. I guess you could say that. I'm a college student. I'm a people like you a baby. 18, also a college student. I don't know, man. I like to smile. I just like to talk a lot. I'm a popcorn into Ashanti.
What's up? Ashanti Kenyatta Campbell, performer, writer, lover of music. From Ypsilanti. Not really, but like that's what I'm gonna say because it's home for now. Gotta take care of where I am. I'm fast to M.
Hey everyone, I'm Em. I use they them pronouns. 18, also a college student, and I've been with Staying Power since 2019. Just very excited to be here, and I'm gonna pass it to Naima.
Naima. I use they, them, or she, her. Doesn't matter. My favorite spot in Ypsi, I would say, definitely, probably Riverside. That's the good one. Yeah, I'm a poet. My bad. I'm a poet. Detroit-based poet. That's right. That's about it right there. I'll be in staying power. I love it here.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm Ciara. I'm 18, about to turn 19 in a few weeks. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm a poet based in Ypsi, Louder Than a Bomb alumni, Ann Arbor Ypsi slam team poet for 2019. Also have been have been involved with Staying Power since the very beginning. And yeah, also runner up for Youth Poet Laureate for Ypsi and Ann Arbor 2020. Yeah, that's all my accolades.
But we was talking a little bit about Ypsi. Man, I think we all just gonna shout out some, give Ipsy some love and shout out some of our favorite places in Ipsy. Anybody got something they really want to get off their chest about Ipsy? Something they love?
I give props to like Riverside Park because it's like a nice place to go when it's like hot outside or you just want a place to like chill out at. It's not too many people if you go by like the lakeside and if you just like sit there, it's really nice to hear like all of the animals and the birds and everything. Also want to shout out Got Burger. It's a really good burger joint and it's like open late at night. So whenever you and some friends don't know where to eat at, there's Got Burger for you. Yep.
On top, like just gonna talk after that. It's a respect out to they just built a new skate park, and usually it ain't for skate parks ain't usually for everybody, but this one's kind of like it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's also meant to target kids that couldn't make it out to the path, the other skate park, and I like that because I was one of them kids. But aside from that, probably like oddly enough, like the old paper mill, like the Peninsula Mill. I like being over there. I like hearing the water over there for real. It's really relaxing. It's calm. It's probably like one of my favorite spots. I like, yeah, that's probably my favorite spot.
That's what's up, Malik. I live by there, and I sometimes go under the bridge at night, and I just like chill. I will want to ask you where that skate park is, though. Like, I need addresses. I need landmarks. Cause I'm trying to be there. Hi, Ashanti. Like I previously said, my favorite part of Ipsy, well, was when I first moved to Ipsy. I love like West Willow area. I love downtown because that's where I always was. I was either in West Willow or by West Willow, like getting my hair cut by the cow and fillers cuts or going to Cuppies for the first time with my friends. It's really nice around there. We need the ball. And
I just love being in Ipsy, just being so close to like Depot Town and also downtown is super nice, just a nice little walk. Not too far from my house, so that's always been really nice growing up and just going downtown. And I also just really love Lawn City hand pulled noodles. That's on Washtenaw. And they're Asian owned, family owned, very good noodles. So if anyone wants to try them out, they're on Washtenaw Avenue.
That's too fire. Man, I think my favorite part about Ipsy is it just it's just never not felt like home. Uh, just literally in a sense, just because I've been here all my life. But I just feel like it's so welcoming. And being downtown, it's like, it's really so beautiful. It's not a huge place and everything, but it's a nice little walk. It's a bunch of shops up the side. Um, and then around the holidays they got the Christmas lights all sprinkled down the street lights, and I like taking a little drive down there and you know being at the I remember being at the downtown library, going there a bunch when I was little. Being at that fountain, just watching the fountain and everything, and I just got a lot of memories playing on the little books and stuff behind the library. I just got countless memories over there. Shout out uh Gabriel's cheesesteak hoagies. Oh boy, I go crazy on a cheesesteak hoagie. You understand me? But shout out Riverside Park too. Shout out Frog Island. Man, just it just it just feels like home. Whether you from here, whether you not, it feels like home, and that's my favorite part about the city. So if anybody has anything else to say, all right, fantastic. So today, y'all, we want to talk about Asian hate and Asian violence. Um, Now I know this did not happen super recently, but I think especially the shooting in Atlanta um, sparked a lot of talk about this, and it kind of just ignited a conversation that should have been had long, long, long ago. And because we wanna represent for all our people, we want to make sure we spread awareness about it, make sure everybody understands what's really going on. Just because some people might not have the opportunity to have these conversations with friends and family, or they might not be comfortable with it. So we just want to have a safe outlet for y'all to be able to understand kind of what's going on and everything. So I'm gonna use the Atlanta shooting as reference. Um, so if y'all don't know what happened, um, a guy drove through Atlanta and he shot 8 people, 6 of which were Asian women. And his excuse for doing so was because he wanted to eliminate temptation. Um, and so when I was doing my research on this, um, that just sounds like a I don't know that doesn't even sound like something you can really grasp as a normal thinking human, I guess. um, I guess it really just dehumanized what they were, made them objects, something of a temptation. So I guess like it's their fault that they were a temptation, or that he had some type of fetish towards them. And it was just super dehumanizing. Um, and so what I was seeing was um, a big thing, especially in America, about this is because America has had a lot of wars with Asian countries, and because of that, a lot of times, so just in a general sense, Asia has been looked at as a place to conquer or to be better than or to take over. And then as well into that, and before I go any further, I just want to, um, you know, drop a trigger warning for anybody about racial violence, because this could be hard for some people. So it should be hard for everybody. But I just want to let y'all know before we go any further. But so a lot of times when there were when GIs were sent into these Asian countries, there were places called camp towns. And in the camp towns, the GIs got involved with sex workers over there. And because of that, that kind of view, as well as mixing in just like propaganda and um, unrealistic an unrealistic presentation of, or like unrealistic view of Asian women, that were put into like movies and TV and books and anything, everything, and just social media and everything. They became viewed as more, instead of being just people, instead of just being human, they started being viewed as like different objects. And if they were human, they were like questioned even about their anatomy and if they were different and everything. And that goes back to a lot of how white people view other races, especially back then. They thought they were, I guess, literally built different, and that their anatomy, they were able to withstand certain things, or that they were created to take on or be or made or be used. by white people for certain things. It's very, very terrible. But so in that they started being viewed as objects. And so when the guy says, I was just trying to eliminate temptations, and there was outcry because the police disassociated race from how do I say this? They disassociated like race from just the killing, and like the two weren't associated, or his feelings or anything towards that weren't racially motivated as much as they were because of it's his own wants, when the two really coincide. And so I there's a really great article that I read, and I listened to as well. It was just transcripted. But it's a hard thing to look at because it's you know about it, but it's when it's put onto paper like that, or you just reading about it, and it's just like, I don't know. It's a conversation that should have been had a long time ago, and it's not that it was never not here. It's just that until this point, it's kind of sad that it took something as egregious as people getting killed in order to start really talking about it. Got any thoughts?
I was gonna say, most definitely. Like before, as you said, like the richest history America has, or just generally like white people in general, is like how racially charged they are and how ignorant they can be. But it's also like that point that like you saying that made me think of like something I read before. I believe it was like I think it was the co-founder of AAPI. But I think he was saying like, I can't tell if like with everything happening, not everything happening, but with a lot of like the hate crimes increasing just all over the US, with them increasing, I can't tell if the amount of hate crimes has increased or the amount of people like reporting them has increased, because it's been like heavily more like it's more under the public eye at the same time, to be like things are now becoming like linked that it's racially charged, instead of like, oh man, it was just an attacking. And it was like, it's kind of ignorant but stupid to think that that's possible, but it's all the more likely. And even with on top of like that, I want to bring also just another event like that I linked as well. But like even in the shooting that happened in Atlanta, sorry to speak of it so lightly. And then like there was attacks in San Francisco and brutal attacks in New York, but majority of them that are reported are mostly Asian women, which is like, when you said it earlier, it's kind of I don't know, just kind of like broad light, like, man, this is not okay, obviously, but it's also just it's more of now like numbers are coming to light, but also more events are being reported and such. And now it's like, man, all this happens, but you won't see it happening to like you won't see it happening to like white men or anything that's like being consistently reported, or like white cis men or anything in general like that. You wouldn't see stuff like that happening. It would only be towards a minority group, and it would only be in like not lower areas, but less populated areas, or where crime is like at an all-time high, or supposedly poor areas.
Can I say this? It seems you said he wanted to eliminate temptation. Is that what he said? It seems like the privileged has like this fetishization, or like this kind of concept that being attracted to or like in any way for something that they deem as lower is the worst thing ever. And I hate the fact that so many, I don't even like privileged people. I think like anyone that you feel like is lower than you, like it's like it's like you can't. So sorry, I can't even formulate words. But do you get what I'm saying? Like it's wild to think that like that someone can dehumanize another person just because they don't look like them. And the fact that they're attracted to this person or this like idea of this person, this formulated like fetish that they've created in their minds, they kind of like self-hate. So they like rage out. Their form of rebellion to the public, but that's okay to them because they're like lower beings. And I think that's so crazy.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and say, like, going back to what Malik was talking about the higher number of reported cases, I just had this conversation with my family like last week about how we have phones now and we can record things now. And that's like, it's not because now in 2021, people are like more racist than they have been before. It's just that we can record these things and use them as evidence as to what's actually happening like every day. And another thing I was gonna say is um, like I've seen, I'm not even gonna say his name, but the shooter, the murderer, in Atlanta, I've seen media blaming it on the sex addiction to Asian women, and it is murder. You can acknowledge, like, okay, yeah, he killed these women because of temptation or whatever. But it's a hate crime. It's murder. He killed these people out of hate and racism. So I was so angry when all of those reports came out because I just saw his name and then it would just be like name, comma, sex addict, and not even addressing like murderer. So that was really frustrating, and I just wanted to talk about that because you can't just blame it on the sex addiction. I just think that's crazy, and we shouldn't be talking about this man in that way. He should be called out for what he is.
Yeah. Now I feel like often when a white person commits a hate crime or something that can be viewed as terrorism, um, we start to try to look at all of the variables. So it wasn't just that he killed somebody, but he was mentally unstable or he had a sex addiction. It wasn't anything just straight up murder, because there's always something underlying. Um, I guess that's the privilege that they hold, is for there to be something underlying, assuming that they couldn't have just killed somebody because that's what they were about. Um, and really, stuff like this, like it's systematic. There was I was reading, it's called the Page Act of 1875, which was even before the Chinese Exclusion Act. But this targeted specifically, or well, more East Asian women. And it was just like, and again, like these are all laws put in place by white men and people who feel threatened or feel some obligation to continue with or feed into propaganda, just because of war efforts or anything like that. It's stuff that just gets ingrained in our minds and stuff that we have to unlearn. But this thing basically stated that, and it basically it 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 just I just want to get the facts right for sure. Um, I believe it prohibited interaction with East Asian women because they were all viewed as prostitutes, and they even said stuff as far as like they carried different diseases. So they just so it was all it's all just kind of stuff that I mean I know I keep saying it, but propaganda just to kind of uh paint an image for those who don't do a lot of their own research, for those who are already scared. It just instills into their minds what they wanted to believe about it because it's already something that they are kind of leaning towards believing in. So and it doesn't, and me saying it's systematic doesn't justify him doing that. I'm just saying it honestly just goes back, and he killed a person, he killed a person, killed people. I'm sorry, he killed people, he killed people, he killed people, and that's just what it is. And really, it's got to be work about holding them accountable, regardless of the variables. It shouldn't really matter what the variables are. Often when POC are in a place where they commit a crime, there are no variables other than their POC, and that's what they do. They should be held accountable regardless. And we got to recognize that this isn't just something that has just popped up, especially like I said, it shouldn't have been a conversation that was sparked because people died. That's really egregious in and of itself, where it's not, we don't talk about something until something devastating happens. And we just got to talk about the history and how far this really goes back, and acknowledging that, and acknowledging that it's something that's really just been ingrained into so many of us, so we can start to unlearn these behaviors and these thought processes.
Like most definitely, like I think that's also like a big problem that happens even when it doesn't like involve us. The fetishization of a culture will always be like deeply enrooted. Like you don't like the people, but you like their food, or you like their clothes, you like their style, you like to see them, but you don't want to be like consist yourself around them or be around them in general. There were wars that were happening in like even like if I think back just from I don't read articles sometimes, only because I hate the word like allegedly. It gets placed in the wrong places of like this person who did this said this allegedly he has a mental like, I don't like words like that just in general, but like when like for example even in the US when like there was inner fighting in on like not the continent, I think it's the continent of Asia, but there was inner fighting between Asian countries. There would be propaganda or just talkings of it here that had nothing to do with us. We weren't even trading with them at the time or just at all. It'd be like, oh, look at them like fighting over that. And it's really ignorant as well, but it's also like it's always just to not you want to feel like, I feel like at times it's a feeling of inclusion. Like sometimes there's like a huge kid that wants to be like, I want a pot, I want my hand in like everything. That's stupid. It's not like you have to be included in everything. And it's also just has to, you don't have to always throw your like 2 cents in of, hey, I feel like this is going on or this is going on here. And it's happened way more times than like right now. It's just more, as Em was saying earlier, we have like our phones now, and it's a possibility to like report things and talk to people about things.
Absolutely. So with that, I want to toss it over to Em, and Em is going to talk more about, or what Em is going to introduce us to, if we don't know about it, the model minority myth.
Hey y'all. So just throwing it back to like how systemic this really is and systematic, how history does play a part into all of this Asian hate. It's not just coming up out of nowhere. And so like Shane was talking about before, like with the Chinese Exclusion Act. So that was created in 1882. when Chinese immigrants came over to the United States for work. Non-immigrants, so a lot of white people referred to these Chinese immigrants as yellow peril, because they were seen as unfit to be citizens and too uncivilized to be citizens. And then that's how this law came to be about excluding, oh my gosh, I can't speak. Excluding Chinese immigrants from entering the US. And then in World War II, this whole model minority idea gained popularity. So in 1882, they were too uncivilized, and then now this model minority is civilized, and they are the model for all other minorities and people of color, because they are hardworking. They have proved themselves. Even though the US didn't want them here, Asian people are now very civilized, they're very hardworking, they're very successful, and specifically Black people need to be like Asian people in the US. So this myth was created to basically drive a wedge between Asian and Black communities, to pin them against each other. And that also just that has created long-lasting effects for the Black community as well as the AAPI community. And this model minority includes things like being successful, like I said, but also being very smart, so naturally good at math, wealthy, hardworking, and also they're like the ideal result for the American dream. Like these are the people that are truly living the American dream. So I want to throw it over to Naima or Ashanti to talk more about Asian Black solidarity.
Yes. Asian Black solidarity, it's everywhere really, but not enough. And I feel like I've really researched a lot of conversations that include the discourse between the two. And the, like Em was saying, how it's stereotyped that, you know, Black people should be more like Asian people, or promoting to Asians that like, oh, Black people are the like minority that you don't want to mess with, don't want to talk to. Like we have been unified. We've been unified since the mass immigration from Asia to America, and after the slavery, because a lot of people needed to replace workers, and often they were Asian workers. I read many articles on, I just don't want to get it wrong. Many articles on railroads built to go out west in order to promote gold. And after the gold rush was declining, people needed ways to get out west in order to, you know, search for gold and things like that. And a lot of times they used railroads. Well, this was like the big thing, the train railroads. And to build those, they didn't have slaves anymore, because they put them all in prisons so they could become slaves again. So, and there's, you know, a little process going on, and now we have to get workers so to wait on this process. And often they were Asian workers, very much often. And we've been in this kind of battle for equality, for unity since then. And even today with, there's this, movements like Asians for Blacks, or for Asians for Black Lives, I'm sorry. Or Dumplings for Unity, which are two very recent movements. Dumplings for Unity was a fundraiser to raise money to combat Asian disparities in America. And basically what they did were there's like a cookout online, and they teach people how to make dumplings, and it was very unifying. And it's just a lot of examples of Asians and Blacks being unified, but this narrative that we aren't is being pushed so heavy because the people who are pushing this narrative, they know if we were to acknowledge our unification, they know that we aren't unified in many aspects. And if we get fully unified, that we will be that much closer to equality. And they're not special anymore if we're all equal. If we all raise our economy, it's not the same because they don't feel the hierarchy anymore. And that's in general what I gotta say. Anyone has any questions or concerns or comments?
There's a documentary called Far East Deep South. Sorry, it's a documentary about Chinese American communities living in the Deep South. It's on PBS and it's from the Southeast Asian Diaspora Project. I think it's very interesting. I think it's on PBS or some type of thing like that. It's really good, y'all.
Sorry, Naima, is there a mutation problem? No, that's wrong. You're muted.
Was I muted the whole time?
No, you weren't, but like the last 10 seconds you were.
I hate it here. What did y'all hear? What was the last part?
We heard that we heard that you had the there was the documentary, and then you were saying it's either on PBS or something along those lines. And can you just repeat the name of the documentary one more time?
Yeah, it's called Far East Deep South. It's a website. It's fareastdeepsouth.com. I'm pretty sure y'all can find way more information than I told y'all on there. It's a lot of podcasts, it's resources on there. So yes.
Thank you, Naima. Ashanti already kind of spoke on it. I just want to emphasize this idea of the push to keep us, in conflict with each other, whether that be like within our own race or in between races, because of the fact that if we find unity, then we are no longer the minorities, and they are scared of that switch of power, and they're scared of no longer, like Ashanti said, having that hierarchy over us or having that unspoken power, if you will, over us. That's a really powerful thing to understand. And if that's it, I would just encourage you all to have that be something you guys really process and think about, and how really vital that could be, in just making sure we always recognize our unity, even when it's pushed on us that there is none, or that we, have hate for each other, or we dislike each other for this, that, and the third. But ultimately, if you know in your hearts of hearts, and we all for the same cause, and we all want the same thing, it's powers and numbers. And it's a lot more of us than it is of them. and we just gotta stay strong and stay vigilant and stay resilient about that. I just think that's a super powerful fact.
I would like to say there's a lot of discourse between Asians and Blacks that is exactly that, discourse and invalid. Often I hear, even in my own community, I hear when me and my brothers, we don't acknowledge, like, Asian people are Asian people, they're POCs, are people of color. And often, even when I'm talking to older Black people, I'm like my parents or my uncle or things of that nature. And we're trying to acknowledge that Asian people have these prejudice against them because they don't look like white people, but they also have the lighter skin. And it's easy for, like I said, older generations of Black people to say, oh yeah, Asian people are white people, which is innately just discourse in the mind. So there's this narrative that if you have lighter skin, that you are white, right? So, and I feel like Black people in America have like been put through so much trauma that we can't differentiate like people of color. And also, there are times when I hear many Asian people say they're not POC because they have lighter skin, right? And that they're not in this minority and don't want to acknowledge their oppression through that. And I would like to say the Asian experience in America and the Black experience in America are unique and should never be compared. There are comparisons, and obviously there are, with lighter skin, you are accepted more by more people, but they're different, and if we find the similarities between the two, it'll be much easier to demolish this discourse, right? Get it out, because like I said, like it tracks back, because like I previously said, because if we're unified, then we're stronger together than we are apart. And we can make these steps by just calling out friends and family on promoting this. And I know we're young people, and it's so easy to, you're young, you don't know anything, like gaslight us. And I know it's so frustrating, because I literally, it's a situation I literally said, I'm like, I was watching my brother talk to his mother, and because I guess he was talking about his football coach, and his mother asked if the dude was white, and he was like, no, he's an Asian dude. He was like, they're white. And then, like, it's so easy to be shut down by these people, but you have to be strong. And we, like I said, the stronger we are to our loved ones, the more we point things out, the more we can change the problems within our community, the better we can reach out to other communities and change the similar problems that we have. Even when gaslighting is so prevalent.
For sure. And that's really dope what you said. Just about like it feels like POC are put in a position where we're supposed to pit our traumas against each other. And it's like, oh, well, you didn't go through this, so your trauma is not as, you didn't experience as much as I did, so you don't even need to be complaining about this, or you know what I mean? And that's something that I think I got caught up in for a little while. And that's super toxic in and of itself. I guess, like, comparing traumas and trying to see who's had it worse. It's just a really weird concept looking back at it, but it was ingrained into me, like, and it was stuff that I heard, other people had it bad, and this, that, and the third happened to them, but we were slaves, and this happened to us, and this happened to us, and instead of acknowledging that both parties experience trauma It's who had it worse. And that's who we should be focusing on, as opposed to we should be acknowledging everybody's traumas and trying to fight them all at once. Even though that seems like a harder task, I think that's something that's essential. So I just like what you said about that, Ashanti.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, like, that's what the oppressors want. Like, they want us to be mad at each other, and they want us to compare our different like experiences. And it's not even like the Black community versus the Asian community, because everyone's experience is different. Um, Not one age, like, I don't speak for the entirety of the Asian community, and no one else can do that. It's just individualized experiences. And like, speaking of experiences, I just want to touch on my own. Like, during the worst parts of the pandemic, and thank God that it's looking like we can stop this. Um, Please get vaccinated. Anyways,
Just got my second one today.
yeah. Um, just during like the worst parts of the pandemic, I was an essential worker, and I was so scared every time I went into work that some white guy was gonna come cough in my face, call me slurs or anything like that, because that's everything that was happening in the news. I've and even like past Even when the pandemic has been getting better and everything like that, there are still people getting coughed on by white people. And it's like referred to as the Chinese virus and everything like that. So keeping that in mind, like, now that the pandemic is slowly coming to an end, please be safe out there. Just try to talk to your family. Like, I know so many like of my peers they have like racist families, and if you feel like you can do nothing, um, in terms of like Asian hate and like being an activist, start with what you know. Like, if anyone in your family is spewing like terrible lies about anyone, people of color, um, then just like start there. Like, that's what you can do, then do that. Because activism starts within your community. You don't need to be like at the forefront of some movement. It can literally start at like a dinner conversation. So I really urge everyone to do what they can, and no act is too small.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's very difficult at times to talk to family, but it's more definitely should start in your inner circle. And even within that, like the smallest things can do, like share resources, or like even for show up for rallies, especially as well, because it's a lot of times where people want to join together and speak out against stuff like this, or in general, but it's not like you know exactly how to do it, or people have the resources to do so. Sharing stuff like that is cool. Or like if you know hotlines or places that are specifically helping other communities, then by all means, please share it with people as much as possible. Everyone has a phone nowadays. Um, yeah, I was gonna say I had which I didn't know recently. I was gonna throw it out there, but Michigan now I think by like April 25th, I believe they have a hotline that they made for Asian hate, or to report Asian hate crimes. I think they're now getting not translators, but people who can understand other languages, just in case it's not all English, which I don't know. It's great. I think it's a good thing. It's just hopefully it more people are aware of the situation and know how to access it.
I would like to also hop on what you said, Malik, about sharing ways we can better help the Asian community and our community ourselves. And in general, also you got to look for, share, but also look for, if no one finds it, then it's not put out, right? No one can share it. So we have to be proactive in that way as well. As soon as we stop, then Everyone, if someone stops looking for it, then no one puts anything out.
Which is true. You should be proactive, and then even like small ways. Like M shared the place. I low key do. I like noodles a lot, but M shared the place earlier, the Land City. I'm gonna go there for it because I drive on Washington. But like support Asian brands as well. Support POC brands in general. Shop POC. Go eat at POC owned businesses. It's good for you. I promise. But support businesses such as that, but also like talk to people for real. Like if you have friends that like that not that you haven't spoke within a minute, or that maybe everything's gonna like it might just affect them. Talk to people, talk to people around you. If someone's like, hey, my friends like Filipino, it's like, all right, cool, can you talk to your friend, make sure they're okay, check in with everybody, because even quarantine made a lot of people make not tension high, but it also caused its own problems.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing to accept with this, and all kind of talks around this as well as other harder subject matters, is that it's going to be uncomfortable, and often it is uncomfortable, especially when it's with your own family, and it is in your inner circle, because you're scared of losing those relationships, and just the reality is, a lot of growth it comes from making yourself uncomfortable and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Not that you should put your mental health at risk or anything, or your physical health at risk, but in order to grow, you have to break things down. That's how I sound like I don't know, like like a coach or something. You gotta break down the muscle to build it up. You know what I mean? But just in that sense, like you gotta do things that are hard and that are going to challenge you in order to evolve past that point. So and I would like to shout out everybody who was here today, and shout out like we said, acknowledge it when you can. If you see it, say something. That's for anything. That's for anything that might look harmful, even if it looks a little suspicious. If you have some suspicions, I think it's still okay to report things. You know, keep in mind how you're speaking up, and even though you may want to help out, do not put your efforts or your education on the shoulders of your POC friends. It is your job and responsibility as POC allies, and just allies period, to each other, to be unified in knowing our information and educating ourselves, so we can acknowledge and be there for anybody. And just make sure educate yourself. Do take some training courses in hate, in certain like hate crimes, or like what hate looks like in different areas or facets. There's a lot of different opportunities for you to educate yourself and grow. So really, just, it's no excuses. It's gonna be hard. It can be tough, but it's for a good cause, and it's for everyone to be happy at the end of the day. And if that's not what you want at your core, then we're gonna have a talk. You know what I'm saying? Go get a therapist. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You should be happy hoping for everyone's happiness. But thank you all so much for being here today. This was fantastic. And I want to close us out. I'm going to pass it to Siada right now.
All right. So to close out this episode, I'm gonna have Naima read a poem from Wang Ping, who is a Chinese-born poet. And before I read her bio, I'm gonna shout out Carlina, one of our teaching assistants, and she has a new book that was recently released called Alien Myths, which is another good resource for learning more about the Chinese Exclusion Act. And I just want you guys to know that it's out there. You can read it. Okay. So the poem is Things We Carry on the Sea by Wang Ping. And she was born on August 14th, 1957 in Shanghai, China during the Cultural Revolution. She received her BA in English literature from Beijing University in 1984 and immigrated to the US in 1985. And it was at Long Island University where she walked into a creative writing class, and that's when she started writing poetry. And currently she is a associate professor at the Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. So take it away, Naima.
All right. We carry tears in our eyes. Goodbye, father. Goodbye, mother. We carry soil in small bags. May home never fade in our hearts. We carry names, stories, memories of our villages, fields, boats. We carry scars from proxy wars of greed. We carry carnage of mining, droughts, floods, genocide. We carry dust of our neighborhoods incinerated in mushroom clouds. We carry our islands sinking under the sea. We carry our hands, feet, bones, hearts, and best minds for a new life. We carry diplomas, medicine, engineer, nurse, education, math, poetry, even if they mean nothing to the other shore. We carry railroads, plantations, laundromats, bodegas, taco trucks, farms, factories, nursing homes, hospitals, schools, temples, built on our ancestors' backs. We carry old homes along the spine, new dreams in our chests. We carry yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're orphans of the wars forced upon us. We're refugees of the sea rising from industrial waste. And we carry our mother's tongues. I hub Lib, Amor Love, Pingan Salam, Shalom, Paz, Peace, Amal, Hope, Hope, Hope. As we drift in our rubber boats from shore to shore to shore.
Thank you, Naima. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. And shout out to the poet as well. Shout out to Malik. Shout out to Elm. Shout out to Ashanti. Shout out to Siada. Shout out to Naima for all being here today and representing. Shout out to everybody who couldn't make it today. I know they wanted to be here in spirit. You know, everybody got their own things going on, and that's okay. We think this is important, and it's not going to stop with this podcast. Again, we just wanted to spark a conversation if you hadn't already. But y'all know what this is. It's stay in power. I've had a beautiful time with everybody here. I'm enjoying y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for tuning in to our future episodes. Thank y'all for following all of us on social media when you get the chance, you know what I'm saying? We know we all trying to go. We all trying to be artists. We all trying to be great. So just support us. Support your peers, support your colleagues, support POC, support POC, support POC. And with that, we out.